How to flip a house without buying it. You want to flip a house without owning it? It's called wholesaling, a signing, or a JV. And it's how many investors start. You don't need to buy the house to profit. You need to control the contract. In this video, I'll show you 2 ways to flip without buying and why it's a powerful beginner strategy. By the end of this video, you'll learn how wholesaling works so you can flip deals without ever owning the property. Okay, wholesaling. What in the world is wholesaling? Wholesaling is when you sell a contract, not a house. So let's say you find a seller who has a house for sale and you negotiate a price of, let's say, $100,000. And you then go to another cash investor like me who wants to flip houses and you say, I have just found this house. I'm asking $110,000 for this house. And you show me the contract. Now I look at the house and say, well, I've run my numbers and I believe I can make $50,000 by flipping this house, paying you $110,000. Let's make a deal. At the closing table, I bring the money. I bring the $110,000 and the original seller gets $100,000. You get $10,000 for bringing that deal to me. And that's how you make money as a wholesaler. Now that's an oversimplification of the process, but that's really how it works. It's called a signing. Now a signing is when you do the same exact thing. You assign the contract to somebody else. So just different wording, different semantics for how it all comes together. But basically, you never own the property. You never take title to a house. You simply go under contract and then sell that contract to someone else. There are people that's all they do. Now in our company, we do about 100 flips a year. About 70 of those are wholesales. And the rest of them are renovations or rentals. We cherry pick out of the wholesales the ones that fit best into our buy box, which you can learn about on our channel. And then we keep the ones that are the best buy box for our rentals. The wholesaling came to us by mistake over 15 years ago. You see, I put a house under contract that I was gonna buy in a neighborhood that was in my buy box, and I got a phone call about 5 days later from a woman who said, Glenn, I would like to buy that house from you. And I said, what do you mean? She said, I'll give you $5,000 for what you paid for it. And I said, what? She said, I wanna buy that house. I said, why? She said, because I own 3 rental houses right on that street. And I've always wanted that house, and you got to it before I did. And I want to buy it from you. I'll give you $5,000. And I said, no, I'll take 15 because I'm a negotiator. Why not? And she said, no, I'll come back at 10. Long story short, we landed, I think somewhere around $12,000, and I sold her the contract, so she bought the house. And I remember looking at Amber, my wife, and saying, I just made $12,000. I never even touched the house. I only walked in it once to look at it. Like, what am I missing? And so we realized that over the years, we had become property snobs. You see, if a house didn't fall into our buy box through our marketing, literally, I would just say, no, thank you, that's not for me. If it was in a bad area of town or a gang-infested area of town, I would literally say, no, that's too high risk, that's too high crime, I don't want that house. Oh, no, that's in a ritzy part of town, I don't want that house. That's too far away, I don't want that. I only want what's in my buy box. Yet I was paying for the phone to ring through direct mail, through TV ads, through my networking establishments I had set up. All these things were bringing me leads that I was just cherry picking. I didn't realize there was money in the ones I was throwing out. So I decided to find buyers in those markets because there are people that want to buy houses in higher crime neighborhoods. There are people that want to buy houses in ritzier neighborhoods. There are people that do want to buy houses far away or in rural locations. So I was able to wholesale houses to them. Our average wholesale fee is now $15,000 per deal that we sell. It helps to pay for marketing, and it's a big profit center. We'll do over $1 million in gross profit this year from wholesaling alone. So the question you might be asking is, so if you could make $15,000 for flipping a house to someone who's going to flip it and make $50,000 to do a flip, why wouldn't you just flip it yourself? It's a great question. As a real estate investor, your job is to make as much money as you can, as fast as you can, while minimizing your risk. You see, if I take $15,000 now and I never own the house, I have virtually zero risk and I have $15,000 in my bank in 30 days. In real estate, there's a term called your cash conversion cycle. If I wholesale a property, I can have my cash profit out of that deal within 15 to 30 days. However, if I say, no, I'm going to renovate that house and make a $50,000 profit, while that sounds great, I'm not going to see that profit for 5, 6, or 7 months down the road. And I take on all the risks that I might not make that much. There might be problems that come along the way. And I might only make $40,000 or $30,000. Sometimes I've made less on a renovation than I would if I just wholesaled it in the first place. I can think of many of those stories. They make me throw up in my mouth, so I'm not gonna go into them right now. But it's just another great way to exit a property. Again, the downside is from flipping, it's smaller profits. The upside is there's virtually no risk and you get your money a lot faster. And you can cherry pick the best renovations for yourself. Just keep the great ones that fit in your buy box with the highest profit margin because they're the best ones. All right, the second one I want to talk to you about is called a joint venture. It's also called novation. You've heard it called different things online. Where we are in New York, we call it a JV. A JV is when we partner with the seller. So let me take this scenario to you. A seller calls up and wants $200,000 for their property. We negotiate, we're gonna pay the seller $200,000 for the property. Now we know we can put $30,000 in repairs in that house and we can sell that house for $300,000. The seller knows it's outdated, they just wanna get out of the property, but we say, I don't wanna actually buy the house from you because I'll have to tie up $200,000 in capital. Instead, I wanna partner with you, Mr. Seller, and I wanna make the repairs myself. I'll handle the sales process. I'll handle everything. You even sign documents and make me a limited power of attorney, and I will handle everything from day one all the way to closing. You don't even have to go to closing. I'll sign the documents for you as your limited power of attorney, and we'll just wire you your proceeds of $200,000 at closing. But I sold the house for $300,000, didn't I? Now I had to come up with $30,000 to do the repairs myself, but I can use OPM or other people's money for that. If you don't know about that, spend time on our channel. We have a ton of topics on that. Then, at the closing table, after all fees, I'll walk away with about $50,000 in profit, and I never owned the house. That house never went in my name. Literally, at the closing table, I'm just representing the seller as their limited power of attorney, and our attorneys helping do all the paperwork, and I get to collect that money. I never owned it. Therefore, they don't even know it's a flipped house. So the buyer doesn't have all the same scrutiny that they normally have where it's a flipped house and their lawyer wants all kinds of special paperwork and permits. They won't even ask because they don't think it's a flipped house. In their mind, that home is still owned by the other person, which it is. They may have owned it for 30 years and they don't know any different. That's a beautiful way to never own a home and fully flip it and make tremendous profits. Those deals don't come along every day, but the truth is if you're not in the game, you will never find one yourself. So you gotta be in the game to find these kind of great deals. Wholesaling deals especially, and JV deals, only work if you buy them deep enough. Go watch the next video, the crucial step that new investors always miss so you can learn how to develop your own buy box for wholesales and for JVs and never miss one of those hot deals again. The link is in the description below. Go check it out.